Let's talk about cleaning your breech plug. Muzzleloading season opens up this Saturday here in west of the Blue Ridge. And one thing you don't want to go in the woods with is a dirty, fouled up, nasty breech plug. Hunters go in the woods every season with breech plugs that they have not cleaned. They've shot their muzzleloader a few times and they think, I shot it, it's lined up. I'm not going to worry about my breech plug. It's good. I've personally missed 2 deer in the past over fouled up breech plugs. Those were hard earned lessons. You think once would be enough, but we'll say twice is definitely enough. So, in this video, we're going to go over how to clean your breech plug and ensure that you get a shot to go off every time. All right, so here's my muzzle loader. I shot it the other day. It's shooting good, shooting straight, and I'm going to clean this breech plug. I just cleaned the gun before I shot it, so I'm just going to leave the barrel alone. I'm not real big on going out in the field with a perfectly clean barrel. It's only shot twice, but I know my breech plug needs to be cleaned. So step one is going to be remove your breech plug. And if you take a look at it, you can see the grease on it. That's breech plug grease. And here's the end of it. That's just from 2 shots. You might be able, yeah, you can see through it, but we're still going to clean it. I'm going to go over how to clean it, but look at the end of that. I shoot Pyrodex 777. It's always done me well, but it can leave a dirty breech plug. So what I like to do first is I just take my breech plug out and put it in a jar with hot water. That's got hot water and dish soap in it, and I let that set for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. It's not going to hurt it. It's going to help loosen up that burnt powder and grease. And then after that, we'll pull it out and brush it. This is just like a hand fingernail brush. Got some stiff bristles on it. And it'll help get it cleaned up. All right, the breech plug's been sitting in this jar for approximately 10 minutes. Let's take it out, see what it looks like. You still see some grease on it. That end does not look near as bad, and neither does that end. Just some dish soap and hot water will help you out a bunch. So this next step of brushing it, I generally do this over a sink, kitchen sink, shop sink. It don't matter, just over a sink. I'm not going to brush it right here over my workbench, but you would just take this brush and run it all over it under running water. So after it is soaked, just shake it off, take a look at it, and then take you a stiff bristled brush and just brush it down really good under hot water. All right, so now you can see the breech plug. I've taken it out of the hot soapy water, run it under just running hot water with a brush, and I just brushed it really, really good. And you can see that it is probably don't look brand new because it's used, but that's as close as I can get it. There's no longer any grease on the threads. There's no buildup of powder on the breech end, on the backside. There's no burnt powder, but we're still going to clean the inside of the breech plug. You can see through it right there, but I'm still going to go through the steps of cleaning it. And I clean the breech plug itself with a set of nozzle cleaners. So these are actually made for welding machines or even the end of a set of torches. You can buy these packs for probably less than $10. I think I just saw them on Amazon for $8. And they've got all these different sized little rods in them, and if you can see them, they got like little grooves on them, almost like a little file. But anyway, what you do is you just find the size you think you're going to need and just stick it right down the end of your breech plug, and you'll just clean it out. You see it going all the way through, and you know that nothing is in there. You see how clean that is. Straight shot from your primer to your powder. And I'll just do that, clean it out 5 or 6 times like that. It's good to go. But since we clean this out with water, there could still be some water down the end of it. on the inside of it, excuse me. And to ensure that we get that out, what I'm gonna do next is I clean it out with like a powder solvent. This is actually made by Remington. It's Bore Bright. And what I like to do is I just turn it straight over, and I'll put a couple drops in it. And that'll help push out the water and any leftover powder. And you can actually see it coming out right now, coming all the way through it. And that black is burnt powder. There it is. And so it'll just keep coming out of there. All right, so now we've cleaned the breech plug out with hot soapy water, the nozzle cleaners, and some Bore Bright. I've also used Hops number 9 in the past for this step. Works really good. But you can see how much light is coming through that. I mean, that has just really cleaned up even more from when I first pulled the breech plug out. So, all right, once your breech plug has been thoroughly cleaned, you need to go back and grease these threads. This is some breech plug grease from Knight. You can order it from Midway USA. There's other brands. I'm sure they work great, but this has worked really well for me in the past. You want to put probably 3 strips of grease up these threads and just rub them in with your finger. And by doing that, you're ensuring that this breech plug will not get fouled up and stuck in your barrel. Because what happens is when your primer goes off, it ignites this powder. And as your powder is pushing that bullet out the end of your barrel, some of the gases are going to try to come back this way. Okay, so that's why when you pull your breech plug out, it looks dirty, black, and filthy. That's burnt powder. Okay, so this breech plug grease, once it's on these threads, will help ensure that it does not get locked in your barrel, and it'll keep that powder and grime from coming up these threads. So let's go ahead and do that. This can be a messy thing to do. I've done it with my finger. I've done this with a rag. There's really no wrong way of doing it. You just want to make sure you get the grease on the threads. Do not want to get any grease at the end. And some breech plugs will have like an O-ring right here. I always grease right around the edge of that O-ring too. Put some here at the base as well, because this is what's going to seat up against the end of your barrel. And this is what should come out looking like. Grease all the way around it. It's going to work really well for you. Once your breech plug has been cleaned and greased, you are ready to put it back in your rifle. This is a very, very critical step to ensuring that you have a successful muzzleloader season. Because if your gun won't go off when you're trying to harvest a deer, it's a bad day, especially when you find out it's something as simple as a clogged breech plug. This is a very easy do-it-yourself cleaning project, and you can see what I've got here. I've probably got less than $20 in tools. You can probably even do it cheaper than that. So take care. Hope this helps you, and don't forget to clean your breech plug.